Welcome back. This is in my face. Welcome back to the Bourbon Bunker. Tonight, part 2. This is in my face. Part 2 of 10 bourbons for beginners. Or 10 bourbons for entry level. 10 bourbons. 10 bourbons to start your journey in bourbon. I got it going on tonight. Alright, let's start this list with bottle number 1. Jim Beam Black 7-year. Put this up. I forgot to do this to the rest of them last time. This is 7-year, age-dated, 90 proof. Kind of a classic Jim Beam profile. I didn't have notes last time, so I was flying off the cuff. I have notes tonight. I prepared so well. I want this. This is what I'm drinking. We're not quite as prepared as I thought it was. This bottle is just classic, kind of a Beam situation. It's got your vanilla, caramel, oak, little nuttiness. It's a little thin, I think, is my biggest knock for it at 90 proof, and the finish doesn't always kind of carry through. It's got a good age on it. I think 7 years is pretty decent, and the best part is it's like $25. It might be one of the best bottles for $25. We might have to do a video on that. We're going to do it. So that's bottle number 1. This is Jim Beam's classic 7-year entry level. Again, this is a list that is mostly available. This next one is going to have a little bit of issue at times, I believe, but it wouldn't be complete without it. Eagle Rare 10-year. Can you see that? Is it in the picture? This is one of my Buffalo Trace products that I would continue to buy when I see them, which is, I see them quite frequently. They are pretty regularly available in my neck of the woods. They're around $50, give or take $5 or so dollars. Anything more than $55 I would not pay, so keep that in mind. Your mileage may vary depending on where you are in allocations and stuff, but I actually had a backup bottle for this because I didn't think it was going to be everywhere, but that backup bottle ended up just being in the list. So we're just going to carry on because I don't think I need a backup bottle of this because the backup made it into the list because it's been pretty good for me. So Eagle Rare, you know, $55 is top of the line for where I would spend on it. You might have to go track it down a little bit. This is one that, for me, if I'm out and about and it's on a drink menu, usually I see that it's not very expensive. It's one of the pours that's usually on the cheaper end, and some places just have extraordinary pricing when you're out and about, so that makes it difficult. But this is one that I do tend to just give me the classic Eagle Rare and call it a day, and I'm not mad about it. Buffalo Trace. This is a Buffalo Trace product. This will have kind of like your toffee, cherry, kind of like a cherry note, more like a candied spree or sweet tart kind of vibe that I usually get on these Buffalo Trace products. And it's got a little bit of a spicy, like a bacon spice kind of situation. Yeah, I wrote toffee, cherry, candy spree, oak, and baking spice. And that's kind of nailing what this bottle would taste like. Again, 90 proof with a little age and a little bit of baking spice in there. So even at 90 proof, the age and the baking spice kind of carry a good finish, and it's pretty solid. But it also has a little bit of sweetness in there too. Next up, Four Roses, just their standard gray label single barrel. This was actually the backup to this, but I decided when I was doing it 10 bottles instead of just 5 that this was just going to make it in, and I wasn't going to do the backup to this. So this is their standard Four Roses single barrel. It's 100 proof, and it should be about $45. I think your mileage may vary like $5 or so, but you shouldn't pay more than $50 for it. And I particularly like this bottle. This is going to give you some red fruit, some toasted oak, and more baking spice. The spice is kind of, this is a little higher proof than this. So the proof kind of makes up for, I would say, the age in a way. But, you can't really do that. But they're both kind of got a baking spice kind of finish to it. And that's why that was going to be the backup to it. And it's pretty lovely. I enjoy that. This is actually my favorite of the Four Roses single barrels that they've released so far. And my fourth bottle is going to be the curveball on this list. Old Fitz 7-year bottled in bond. This should be more regularly available to the masses than it was before. It was a little allocated when it rolled out. I think it's in most stores I see now. 7 years, 100 proof. This is a weeded. Let me back up a second before we start talking about what it tastes like. This is a weeded situation where there's a certain percentage of the mash bill that is wheat, and that's why it's considered weeded. So that's why this is the curveball, because it's not just your standard bourbon. It's a high wheat content. And you will find more of like a brown sugar vanilla, I call a frosting machine note with the vanilla, the creamy vanilla. It's kind of just like a frosting machine. I used to work at Wendy's way back in the day, and that's what I would get there. And it's got a little spice. Some of the wheatedness kind of comes through a little bit, and a little oak. This is not going to be like heavy oak presence. This is a nice, soft, easy sipper. This is golf. I golf and I pour like something like this or the Penelope weeded in there. If this is not available all over the place where you are, this Ben Holiday soft red wheat bottled in bond would be a backup to that. So we'll just kind of stick this in the back because it's a backup. But these should be about everywhere. This is also 100 proof, weeded situation. Now, last but not least, Wild Turkey 8-year. That's Wild Turkey 8-year, age stated 101. The price on these is a little weird. I see them all over the place. Unfortunately, I've even seen it up to $150, which is absurd. It's absolutely insane. It should be about $45-50, I think, is what I normally see it consistently around. Again, another Wild Turkey product. We talked about that from the Russell's 10-year in part 1. But this is going back to have a little bit of a nutty profile. Got an orange citrus kind of vibe. I sometimes get a little bit of a tea note, and some oak and vanilla in there, and you will get that classic Wild Turkey funk as well, whatever that is. One day I'm going to nail down exactly what that means, but I haven't yet. So this is part 2's 5 bourbons. You might throw this this Bottle and Bond Ben Holiday into the blind whenever we do it, and maybe we'll throw Woodford Double Oaked in for the blind as well, because that's another one you can kind of find on the shelves to match that Buzzard's Roost. But yeah, these are the 5 that I would recommend, and I look forward to getting these blinds underway. Until then, cheers.